Okay, we're gonna get a fully healthy fire spitter. And wait. We're gonna have to deal with this. This is why we need to kill him a bit fast. Okay, fire shears in the group.
Become the best.
Hello again, all this is Eatmopie, and this is Pie's School of Tanking, Episode 2, LFR. Learn to freaking raid. Everybody has to do it if you're trying to gear up a fresh alt, if you're trying to gear up your character to be ready for flex in normal modes. Do LFR. If you're trying to get your 4-set bonus or 2-set bonus, LFR. You gotta do it. Legendary Cloak Quest. Oh man. What a pain. But you gotta do it. And it can be painful sometimes, especially for tanks. Oh my goodness, especially for tanks. Yeah. But we gotta do it. So, that's what we gotta do. This video, I'm gonna try and give you some tips, some of my rules to help you get through LFR as painlessly as possible. And, yeah. So, we're gonna move right along. First of all, before we go anywhere, over here, there's a link. If you have not watched episode 1 of Pie's School of Tanking, click this link, pause this video, click this link, go and watch it. It's only a couple of minutes. And do the things that you need to do to be ready for looking for raid. Because I can't make you a good player if you're not willing to take a couple of minutes and, you know, set your character up to be optimized, to be optimal. Yeah, so you gotta learn to play, you gotta learn how to spec and all that stuff before you can jump into looking for raid, or else you're gonna be the problem rather than the cure. Anyway, okay, so as many of you know, I've been playing this game an extremely long time. How long, Eatmopie? How's that? Yeah, I looked that up the other day, so I thought that was funny. Toot toot. Almost 9 years. I've been playing a tank that entire time. Okay? Starting way back in vanilla with Molten Core, I played a warrior. And then I decided I wanted to be a druid. Before druids were cool, and you couldn't really tank on them back in vanilla, but in Burning Crusade, they were pretty beast. And a paladin. Then a death knight. Then a warrior again. And a death knight again. And now I have my favorite, the monk. Monks out there, good for you. It is probably the most challenging spec to play well in the entire game. So if you're playing a monk tank, good on you. Practice, practice, practice. It is not easy. But, that being said, all the other tank classes are absolutely fine. Play whatever you want. They're fun in their own ways, and they're useful in raid situations. They all have their own little niche, whatever it may be. If it's Devotion Aura, or, you know, if it's a speed increase, or if it's a damage increase, whatever it may be, you know, or a health increase. Anyway, looking for raid. I'm not doing them on my monk because my monk is way overgeared for looking for raid, and it's just a painful process. I hate dying on my monk, and it does happen sometimes. It doesn't matter how prepared you are. Sometimes you will die in looking for raid. Yeah, that's rule number 1. You're gonna wipe. So, don't get mad. Don't cry about it. It'll be okay. You will wipe. So just be ready for that. Anyway, we're gonna gear up my druid. My druid is the polar opposite of my monk, in that they are so easy to play as a tank. They were not designed properly for active mitigation. So, more or less, I can just sit there AFK once I have aggro and still do my job effectively. Yeah. I started looking for raid last week on the druid. I had a 480 gear score or something like that, something along those lines. I got some timeless pieces, and then I went and got some PvP pieces. Heck yeah. It is okay to have a few PvP pieces when you're starting out looking for raid. To buff up your gear score. It's not going to kill you. If you have a full set of PvP gear and you're trying to tank, you're probably going to be a little bit squishy. You don't really want to do that. People are going to call you names and be mad. It's going to be drama. It's unneeded. But a few pieces to buff your item level, that is absolutely fine. And it only takes a few minutes. If you haven't seen my item level guide, my how to gear up in 5.4, I'll put a little link up here for you. You can check that out. It's helpful. You can get these 3 PvP pieces in about 2 hours of just screwing around. And some timeless pieces, and you'll get your item level up there. Now, if you can't do that, it's okay to start at the lower looking for raids. Especially if you're already on your legendary quest. You probably should do these anyways, because you're getting a lot of the items that you need. So, yeah. You know, the Terrace of Endless Springs, the Mogushan Vaults. I haven't done them on my Druid, as you can see. I did one Zandalari, last stand of the Zandalari, and I got a weapon, and that took me up over that 495. And I could get right into Siege of Orgrimmar, and I did all of Siege of Orgrimmar last week, and I got 3 pieces of tier. Hello. I got some shoulders, and I got a weapon. It's really hard to beat that. That's a heck of a week. That's very, very lucky. You're not going to get that every week. Now, you also want to do Celestials if you don't do that, and you might get lucky there, too, and get some pants or, you know, a PvP piece of 522. Anyway. Okay, tip number 1 for looking for raid. When you queue, don't just queue for one, okay? As a tank, I always queue as a DPS as well. You never know. Once in a while I get in that way. You find a group. Click on the next one. Find a group. Click on the next one. Find a group. If you're going to need to do them all, you might as well do it. And I think 3 is all you can have. But there you go. I mean, it's that fast. Okay, the first thing you do when you enter a looking for raid as a tank is select the other tank and make him your focus target so you can see what he's doing. You can watch his debuffs and things like that. There's a lot of taunt swaps, and you have to assume that he is bad. That's the general assumption. He may not be bad, he may be new, he may not know the fights, but you have to pick up the slack, and that is an easy way to, well, that just makes life easier. But this tank actually seems like he's pretty good and knows what he's doing, so that's a beautiful thing. A beautiful thing. Another little tip to make life easy: as the tank, you are the leader of the group. Assume that nobody else is going to set up a fight for you. So just plan on doing it yourself. It's pretty easy once you get the hang of it and know what to do. Now, I put these markers around so people remember where to go back to so that they can step into the slime, the purple stuff, in this fight. It makes life easy. That's the only reason. You're going to have to do this. If you need to have people spread out, raid warning. Somebody was nice enough to leave some food. Thank you very much. That's beautiful. This seems to be a pretty good group. Most groups are not going to be this nice and easy. So we're going to tell her thank you. Thank you. She didn't have to do that. But anyway, we set up the group. Just plan for that. I'm going to speed this up greatly. But one thing, a ready check. Have that on your bar. A pull timer, have that on your bar as well. If you don't have deadly boss mods, get it. What the heck. I will put the macros for those in the description. Makes life easy, having a ready check and a pull timer on your bar so you can just click it or tick it or whatever. Knowing the fights, that's another thing. If you watch the first video, you probably know who Sunnier is. She will help you out immensely on learning the fights. There's not much to them, and I'm not going to go over all the mechanics. Just, you know, do your best to know what's going to happen, and hopefully the rest of your group can, you know, do what they're supposed to do as well. As you can see, this isn't going very well, but we do pull it off, and yeah, it's not too bad. Anyway, all right, I'm going to speed this up and talk about the biggest one of the most important tips that I can give you is don't get angry. There are a lot of new players. There are a lot of bad players. The bottom of the barrel of assholes are going to be in LFR. Without a doubt, there's going to be one in every group. Whether he's vocal that day or not, he's there. And you're going to have to deal with it. So, don't get angry. You're a tank. You're the leader. You can kick him if you have to, if it gets to that point. Or you can leave. And you can come back almost instantly into a different group. And not have to deal with that asshole. It doesn't matter. So don't get angry, because when you're angry, you're going to play bad. You might make a mistake, you might wipe your whole entire group, because that can happen as a tank, especially on fights like Thok, for instance, and you'll see him here shortly. You gotta just be calm, be cool, get through it. You're the boss, you're the leader. If somebody's giving you a problem, kick them. If you really are bad, well, you know, a little introspection isn't a bad thing. Look at yourself. Make sure you're doing things right. You're hitting the right buttons, you're specced and gemmed and all that stuff, and you're standing in the right place. Anyway, let's move on. Since I'm not going to be raiding regularly, I tried to roll and get my trinket. Didn't work out for me there. Warforged seals, if you haven't gotten those, that's really one of the last tips that I got for you. Make sure every week you're getting your Warforged seals so you can roll on Celestials, and if you happen to have your legendary cloak on one of your characters, you can do Ordos as well and get some Warforged gear from him. Unfortunately, I did both of those this week and didn't get a single thing, and I wasted 2 coins. So that's a bummer, and story of my life this week anyway. Anyway, I'm done talking. I'm going to put a little music on maybe. You can watch the rest of this looking for raid. It's only another minute or so. And thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if this helps. And thank you so much for watching. This is Eatmopie. I'll see ya.
you